My guest tonight is a filmmaker that's been perfecting his craft since he was 8 years old. Yeah, 8. What were you doing when you were 8? Not that, neither was I. But he has made some of my favorite movies. I'm so excited. Please welcome M. Night Shyamalan. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
First of all, this is a huge honor and privilege for me. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I've been so excited about your success and, rooting you on over here from the East Coast.
Do you think I'm successful? Thank you. Thank you.
Our parents probably are immigrant. I don't know about your parents, but I'm never successful enough. So they're just, I see them yesterday and like, what's good? What's happening? When are you going to make it? I'm like, that happened.
When are you going to make it? What? Okay, I want to dive into all the parts of your career. But first I want to ask you, what can I call you? Is it Night, M. Night, Mr. Night? What's the vibe?
Night's great.
Night,
Perfect.
Okay, that's sick. Night. All right, Night and Lily, chatting it up. You are obviously iconic. You have made so many incredible films. A lot of those films are my favorite films. But I want to go to the beginning here. You are an Indian kid. You're growing up in Pennsylvania, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
What is your upbringing like? How did you become the M. Night Shyamalan?
I think there's a confluence of many things that turned out to be very influential in terms of why people relate to the voice as an adult and an artist. But I think the confluence of the fact that I am Indian, but I am raised in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I have, I love cheeseburgers and I love, basketball and, I wear flannel and, yet my mom does pujas at home. Pujas are ceremonies, as you know, and then my grandma.
I appreciate the translation, though. He's like, for everyone watching at home, the pujas are ceremonies.
Everybody's just in case, there's not just Indians watching us right now. I think I was very, very lucky to be born at the time I was born, and the filmmakers were making films that were the iconic, kind of perfect religious films for that age group. I was, 7 when I saw Star Wars in the movie theaters, and 12 when I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, and E.T., 13 years old, all of that just perfectly hitting me. And I'm like, I want to do that.
So growing up in Pennsylvania, and you said that, your mother was doing pujas and you were still very much so embedded in this culture and this religion. Did you ever feel conflict growing up? Like, oh, I'm ashamed or I'm embarrassed or I don't know how to navigate?
Definitely. As a kid, you just didn't want anything to do with your culture. So everything, my mom wearing a sari or my grandmother coming back and, everybody wearing puttas, or even the food and eating with your hands. And I was like, guys, you got to stop that. My friends are coming over. Okay. Get the forks out and the knives out. We need to be like normal people. So I've always run from my heritage, and we do that to assimilate. And the irony of that is the thing. The uniqueness is the thing that makes your voice powerful. You learn that later in life.
That's so interesting you say that. I remember growing up, there was always one thing. I wasn't ashamed of a lot of things, but there was always one thing where I was like, stop doing that. Anytime my parents would talk in Punjabi, my friends would be like, why are your parents fighting? I'm like, I swear they're not fighting, just how they talk. And then my dad would yell on the phone to like a relative in India, and I'm like, he's just talking. It's just, I used to be so embarrassed of that, so I could totally relate. So then you have this experience of, kind of being ashamed, kind of trying to learn how to navigate these two cultures. How do you feel like that childhood is infused into your films? Or do you think it is at all? Do you think that kind of impacts the way you filmmake?
There was a sense of being the outsider that I think was just what my point of view was. And so I think when I picked that character, and a character that's learning something unusual or kind of learning to fit in, that really feels natural to me. It's my natural point of view. But also I think the spirituality from our culture, I just kind of turned that into supernatural kind of aliens and comic book characters and whatnot. So that kind of acceptance of the supernatural in our spirituality and our daily lives kind of turned into a more fun version, or I guess more fictional version.
That's so interesting that you say that, because that's so true. So let me ask you something. You talk about childhood, being Indian, being the only Indian in a lot of these settings, and how it's infused into your films. But now let's talk about once you made it, once you're in Hollywood now, you're making these huge films. What is it like? Do you still feel like you're the only Indian guy in the room, and then there's certain hurdles that maybe people will never understand unless they're there? Like, what are some of the hurdles of being you on a set?
It's the question that I've been asking myself for a long time, years and years, decades, of what is this kind of headwind that I feel? I think it's a combination of that I'm different, that I'm culturally different, and I'm doing something in a way that people like me don't look like me, don't run things and decide what movies should be. And the natural pushback against somebody whose original voice is trying to be heard. That's a natural thing. Society, they're suspicious of it. And I understand, and I tell young people this now, for me, don't expect a seat at the table if you're the first person, the first woman, or the first Indian, or the first, African-American person. You make the table, don't, there is no seat for you. Make the table longer first. So change the game.
Oh my God, thank you so much for watching the show. If you click here, I think you can subscribe to the channel. If you click over here, more clips just like this one. Click them.